Yeah, I'm only
A little bit St. Stephen's from here.
It's been a long day, and we all had a break before dinner tonight, so we'll get straight into it. Our special general meeting was called for at the AGM back in December, and the minutes of that AGM are page 15. So I'll declare the special general meeting open. As I said, we'll take the minutes that's been read from the AGM. Somebody like to move that? Dave Jeffries, Mark Neal. Mark's writing this down. So,
it's been a long day.
Now, what we did back in December was just to keep the existing state council going until now, on the basis that we needed to sort things out. So at the moment, there's no resignations from that date, and they all have been nominated as per the AGM. We have got one new nomination, Michael Cuskelly from Toowoomba branch. Michael's been nominated by David Jeffries and seconded by myself. Are there any other nominations from the floor? We do still have vacancies. There's been no other nominations. I'll declare Michael Cuskelly, or Nick as he's known, as a new state councillor. So could you welcome him? Now, we also can take others on the state council during the year, and then they are re-elected at the following AGM. So there are vacancies, and we're always keen for people to put their hand up and join us. And then people like myself have been there too long can retire. So,
You wish.
that's one of the things I'm after. Now, the process for electing our state chairman. The state chairman has a maximum term of 3 years, and Eddie Radke's now completed his term, and when the break was on, we sat down with the state council, and prior to that, Eddie Radke contacted those state councillors that were unable to be here and obtained their votes on the appointment of a new state chairman. And I'm very pleased to announce that Michael Hill has been elected as the state chairman for this current year. Good. Say a few words. Thanks, Michael.
Only a few words, Mike. We know you.
I'm Michael Hill. I'm from branch 11. I'm not the jeweller.
Michael, just drop the mic a little bit. Shadow your face. Thanks.
So, Brother Chair, our visitors from Victoria, New South Wales and South Australia, it's wonderful to have you here. My brother Knights, and Josephine's not here. I'd thank her for being the first female to grace the State Conference of the Knights of the Southern Cross in Queensland. Different but effective, and I'm glad she could attend today. First thing I'd like to do is pay tribute to Eddie Radke, our last State Chairman, who has been our State Chairman for 3 years, half of which, half of that time has just been involved in organising this State Conference, which has been an absolutely huge event to put on. We were supposed to have it last October. It was as if we had to rev ourselves up again and start again and to have it today, but in this weekend. I think we needed every day of those 3 months or 4 months to get the hang of it and make sure we had everything in order. Eddie was part of that, and one of the other things that happened in Eddie's term was the movement of our state office from Gordon Park to the premises of Southern Cross Care. And if I could thank Southern Cross Care on Eddie's behalf and on the behalf of State Council, that they did that for us. That was a great thing, and it's brought us together in a closer physical relationship. And in the words of Francis Price, who will now form a Venn diagram. Is that right, Francis? Having said that, and given as much as I can, you know how well Eddie performed the job, and we thank him for that. Being a State Chairman, I guess, or even a branch chairman or a leader of any organisation, like the Knights of the Southern Cross, is a challenging but a great privilege and a great honour. And on behalf of you all, I thank you for that, bestowing that honour upon me. My father, no, I don't want to take too long. I won't give you the whole history, but my father joined the Knights in 1967, so between he and I, we've done over half the years of the Knights' existence in Queensland, and if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't know anything about the Knights, I guess. When he joined the Knights, he would go off to meetings, and I'd have to, with my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, sit with my mother while my father went to the meetings. And my brother, who's a bit of a larrikin, because Dad was going off to the secret meetings, he called the Knights uncles, after the man from Uncle, who was operating the Secret Service in that TV program at the time. So the Knights was never mentioned in our household. It was always Dad's going to Uncle's. So, and when I talk to my brothers now, it's still Uncle's. So, so Uncle's it is from our point of view. The other great thing that's happened in our lives is my father was housed in the old home at Holland Park. He died in that home, and my mother-in-law was housed in the new facility at Holland Park, and she died in that home as well. At the time she died, Aidan Smith died, and Aidan Smith was the chair of, I think, Southern Cross Homes back in the early day, if I've got that right, Don. Anyway, I went to, and it turned out that Mum's room was, it had some bird poo down the window. It wasn't a showstopper, but we didn't like putting her in that room. So it happened that Aidan died right at that time, and thankfully my mother-in-law took Aidan's room, and it didn't have the But anyway, to thank Aidan, amongst other reasons, I went to Aidan's funeral, and afterwards we were having a cup of tea around a table, and Steve Kelly was there, and I remember Kevin Lapper was there, and we were talking about the Knights, and Steve said, "Why don't you come on the State Council?" And my immediate reflection was that if it wasn't for the Knights of the Southern Cross, there'd be no Southern Cross Care. That means that my father and my mother-in-law would have passed away in some other facility at some, wherever that may be. So in a moment of weakness, I said, okay, I'll do that. I mean, there was no other discussion. And there wasn't much discussion other than that, other than to say, well, look, just come along to a meeting at a certain time. And I sort of dropped in, and I don't know if everybody knew I was coming, but I arrived, and that was 6 years ago. And it's a great thing, a great privilege to, because we can never go onto any one of these committees without learning something, despite how we think we've known everything from our working life. So if I could just retrack a bit too, in terms of my membership in the Knights, I've been a member for 37 years of Branch 11, and one of the persons who nominated me was Brother Don. So I thank him for that, and I served on the board of Southern Cross Care for 7 years, and I don't think if it wasn't for Don Deander, I don't think I would have served on the board. I think he gave me a bit of a reference along the way, and we'd served on the Parish Finance Council for many years. So not many years. I think Don was on the Finance Council for 40 years. I was on it for 20 years. Anyway, when I was coming on to State Council, I said to Don, what's it like, you know, I said, I'll join State Council, what's it like? He said, you should have asked me first. And I said, well tell me what it's like. He said, it's a journey. It's a journey. We've heard, Don was on the State Council for 33 years, never does anything by halves. So I thank him, and I thank Michael Kenner, the other nominee who brought me into the Knights and became my brothers. So almost literally. So I'm not going to speak too much longer because I don't want to get into the prescriptive stuff. But today we've heard a lot in recent times is we're all in this together. The fact is that as Knights we need each other. We are in it together, but I've got to think about it, at least I think, in my view, we need each other. And if we need each other and do it, then we don't have to worry too much about it, what our numbers are. So we're relying on each other and lean on each other. And something that Father Tom Kessie said today, he says, the Knights make something of us along the way. And I think for everyone in this room, we wouldn't be the same people, no matter how long you've been in the order, had it not been for somebody nominating us to come in the Knights of the Southern Cross, and for each one of us to answer a yes. So even if that wasn't an immediate yes, and it took some time, because the other view I have is for coming to the Knights of the Southern Cross, the first 10 years are the hardest. And your brother Knights, if you try to slip out the back door, they'll grab you by the collar and they'll drag you right back in. And that happened to me. So it makes something of us all along the way, and I think it has of me. I'm certainly a different person to what I was before I joined the Knights and before I joined State Council. And hopefully I can speak on behalf of you all and recognise on your behalf the difference it's made in your life. And if anything that we can do, apart from the prescriptive stuff, is go to Mass, go to Holy Communion, say the Rosary.
Thank you very much, Michael. And Michael will be installed at the Founders Day Mass on the 1st of May at Darlington. I'll congratulate him again, and I would now like to close the special general meeting. The agenda's been completed. Now, I've got to sum up, but just before I start that, I know we've rushed through general business, so is there any other general business required? Stuart Beavers.
Look, I'll be as quick as I can. I just want to touch on something that Mark alluded to in his talk about dedicated emails. There has been a lot of work done by a member of our branch, Chris Ryan, who has put in a submission to the State Council, and I would stress that there may be a cost involved, but I think it's a cost well worth paying, and that cost can be spread over all the branches that use it. And the whole purpose of this is that when we are trying to make contact with people, and I've had this trouble myself, I get no replies from schools, particularly with the prayer campaign. I've tried to involve schools, and because I sign the letter that I write to them with my name, and my email address has at optusnet.com.au. It doesn't have at KSCQ or Knights, Queensland. And so they don't know who I am. And so this is the sort of problem that we're up against. It's a struggle. And I believe it's important for us to do it, and I'd like to see all branches. Perhaps if you don't know about it, perhaps there could be some information circulated so that you can see what we're looking at here. But I do think that we need to take this on board as soon as we can. And so I've said my piece now, but I think we all need to jump on board with that. Okay.
Thanks, Stuart. Any other one? Yes. Paul Mitchell from Victoria, State Chairman.
The Chairman, brothers, I just want to be very brief, and I may not get the opportunity later to say congratulations and thank you for your invitation to be here from Victoria last night and today. It's been a great experience. It's my first visit to another state conference, and I'd simply like to say once again congratulations all the speakers that I've spoken to them as they've left the podium. Were very, very interesting indeed, and I appreciate it greatly. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. I'll now move on. One of the things we've got the challenge today is to do a few things differently.